Welcome back to another episode of The Plate Cleaner on Video. I'm glad you could be here. Last time we did a video of Ernie Coombs' Mr. Dressup's clam pasta from this book, Airfare, food from recipes from CBC celebrities of the 80s. And it seemed to go pretty well. I mean, we put Mr. Dressup into the conversation and suddenly look at who else is talking about Mr. Dressup.
Do you remember Mr. Dressup, the children's show on CBC? What were the names of Mr. Dressup's two puppet friends, Casey and Finnegan?
Is it a coincidence? Maybe not. Probably, but maybe not. Oh, the shirt. Yes, thanks for noticing. I'm glad you asked. Elbows up. We're hearing it a lot these days. I made these t-shirts, I designed them, and then I got them printed by Astro Screen Printing in Etobicoke on shirts made by Jericho, a company in Scarborough who makes shirts in Canada using really ethical practices. They're nice to their workers. And you can buy them if you want. You can buy bumper stickers too at elbows-up-canada.ca. Is it a cash grab? Absolutely. I would like to grab some cash. I haven't grabbed much cash this year. So send me some cash to grab. I'd love it. elbows-up-canada.ca for your shirts, bumper stickers. There's sweatshirts, there's long sleeve t-shirts. Really love to see you in one, and if you do, send me a picture. So on that note, when I decided I would do another episode of Just Add Celebs, I thought, maybe I would do an American celeb, and then I thought, elbows up, forget that, we're taking care of our own. So I went looking for a Canadian celebrity to do a recipe, and I looked first, not in Airfare, but in Celebrity All Occasion Cooking, which was a book from about the same time, the mid to late 80s, that was put together as a benefit for Epilepsy Canada. And I looked and I came upon, it says on the front, Julie Andrews, Haygood Hardy, Robert Goulet, Henry Winkler, Wayne Gretzky, not doing his, Carol Burnett, the Princess of Wales, Dom DeLuise. And I saw one recipe in here for Frank Schuster's rice casserole. And I went, hey, wait a second. In Airfare, there's Frank Schuster's rice casserole. And I thought that was pretty cheeky, so I thought I gotta game recognize game, and I gotta give it to Frank Schuster. So we're gonna do Frank Schuster's rice casserole. Frank Schuster, if you might know, if you are younger than 45, you probably won't know, was one half of Wayne and Schuster, a comedy duo, Frank Schuster and Johnny Wayne. They appeared the most times on Ed Sullivan's show, I think like 58 or 67 times. They met at Harvard Collegiate Institute as high school kids, got on, started doing Boy Scout shows. We actually have a couple of friends whose kids go to Harvard, go Tigers. And from there, they just kept on. They were in the Army, the radio, TV. They had really interesting sketches. Their most famous ones, Wipe the Blood from My Toga, which is a mix-up of like the tragedy of Julius Caesar plus a hard-boiled detective pulp novel, Mickey Spillane type thing.
Just fill me in on the setup here. Come here. Who are those shifty-looking characters over there?
Shifty-looking? They're senators.
Well, that explains it.
And their other one is Shakespearean Baseball Game, which is a baseball game all in iambic pentameter.
How goes it, cousin?
Our chances dim with every pitch. 'Tis one away. McDuff is at the plate.
Lay on, McDuff, and watch out for that breaking stuff.
So they were postmodern before postmodern was really a thing in the mainstream. They were mashing up different genres very interestingly. And they stayed together from, that time they met in high school until Johnny Wayne died in 1989, I think. Together professionally, never really together socially. They realized early on they were very intense workers, very exacting, and they didn't want to spend that time together off camera as well. They just agreed to go their separate ways, which I think sitting from outside a creative partnership can be difficult to understand. But as someone who's worked in a creative partnership, yeah, there are lines you kind of not necessarily explicitly draw, but that you draw. And I thought it was interesting that they saw that and recognized it and really stuck to it. Now, though, they are together. They're both buried in the Holy Blossom Burying Ground on Pape Avenue, which is kind of cool too. So let's get into Frank Schuster's rice casserole. We're going to need one 10-ounce tin of water chestnuts. Unfortunately, there are no 10-ounce tins anymore. Water chestnuts have become a victim of shrinkflation, so I had to combine two of those. 2 cups of long grain rice, or mixed with wild rice if desired. 2 cups of fresh mushrooms sliced. A cup of Spanish onion diced. A ½ pound of butter. Half pound is a funny amount of butter. I can eyeball a tablespoon. Half pound, I didn't, usually you don't see volumetric things for butter anymore. It'll be in weights. And so the way I did this was I went back to my family studies in grade 6 and used the water displacement method, where you put a certain amount of water in a measuring cup and then you add butter until the volume has increased by the amount that you're looking for. So I put a cup of water in a measuring cup and then added butter until it went up to the 2-cup level. And now I have a cup of butter. Salt and pepper to taste, I'll do that later. And a pinch of oregano, which is optional if you really want to get a little freaky. The thing about rice for me is I don't know how to make it. This sounds funny, I'm Asian, but I think most or a lot of Asians don't know how to make rice because we have rice cookers. You put the rice in, you add the water, you push the button, and it's done. But the first instruction in this recipe is prepare rice as per package instructions. Cook until slightly firm. So he wants you to underdo it because it is going to cook for a while in the oven as well. And I don't know how to make rice al dente because you put it in the rice cooker and it just pops, the button pops up and it's done, and it's not going to be underdone. So the way I cook rice, if I have to, without a rice cooker, is I'll do it like pasta. I'll just make a big pot of boiling water and drop the rice in, and then when the rice is the doneness I want, I will just strain it out. So let's do that first. Okay, the water's boiling. So I will add the rice. Just test it occasionally to see when it's the doneness I want. And I'll just strain it, continue on with the recipe. This will take a while, you don't need to watch this. So our rice is done and drained. Next we need to saute the onions in half the butter. So that would be, I can eyeball that, that's half a cup of butter, until brown. Put that on medium high, it doesn't specify, but that seems about right if we want to get them brown. We'll melt the butter, and as soon as the butter is melted, in go the onions. The butter's melted. I just realized that in one cookbook it says 1 cup of butter. In the other cookbook it says ½ pound of butter. The 1 cup is a little bit more than ½ pound when I measured it. So that's what I'm going with. Onions go in, we'll stir those. I'm going to add a little salt just because I think salt always helps things along. And we will stir until brown. Get through the foam, you can see that the onions are pretty much golden. There's a little bit of white left. I've turned the heat down to medium just to keep the parts that went golden earlier from burning. I think I'm going to call it there and say that is golden brown. So now I stir in the mushrooms and saute until slightly cooked. Again, I think I'll just keep the heat on medium here. The mushrooms, of course, will give off a whole bunch of liquid and then shrink down in size. So this will probably take, browning the onions took, I would say, about 10 minutes. I don't know how long it'll take for the mushrooms to get slightly cooked, but we will see. That only took a few minutes, but I'm going to call those lightly cooked. I don't want the onions to get any darker. So now we are to add the mushrooms and onions to the rice. Mix well. Add the remaining butter. Salt and pepper to taste. And oregano if desired, 1 pinch. I think I'm going to go wild and do 2 pinches. Who's afraid of flavor? Mix well. I don't know if the butter is supposed to mix. I have such big pieces in there. The butter is supposed to melt. completely. It's starting to. And then add water chestnuts and mix thoroughly. Water chestnuts is really the outlier for me. Onions, mushrooms, rice. Okay, water chestnuts. Is it supposed to be oregano? And that's the mushrooms and the rice. I don't know. I'm gonna try to stir this until all the slices aren't sticking to each other. So now I have a buttered casserole dish, a baking dish. I'm gonna pour my rice into the dish. Spread that evenly. Still some butter unmelted. And while everything's going on, I preheated my oven to, the recipe says 400, I'm doing it 375 because we have a convection oven, and usually when you have a convection oven, you knock 25 degrees off that. You cover with some tin foil. Don't listen to anybody. It doesn't matter what side of your tin foil is up, if it's shiny or dull. It does not make a difference. And this goes into the oven for 1 hour. And we'll see you when it comes out. It's been about 20 minutes. I just went to check to see how it's doing. Wasn't expecting to be done yet, but I wanted to see how it was. And this whole time I've been cooking, I've been thinking, something smells funny. It smells like something's burning, but I don't know what it is. And then as I was looking into the oven to check on the rice, I remembered my Banneton, my baking basket. I put it in there last night after I made some bread to let it dry out, and it has dried out all right. It looks like it's okay. The linen might be shot, but anyway, check your oven before you preheat it, I guess. Okay, the timer just went. It's been an hour. It says it could take up to an hour and a half, which I hope it doesn't. So we'll take it out now and see. We're looking for edges beginning to brown. I think the edges are beginning to brown. I see some browner rice there. So I think we're done. Oven off. And let's serve this up. Okay, it smells surprisingly good. The onions smell good, mushroomy. I'm surprised. I didn't think much of this going in. So let's dish some up. Pretty moist still on the inside. I'm using my gold Grey Coon spoon. Thank you very much, Thomas, for the gift. All right, let's see how this is. It's very hot. The water chestnuts especially are very hot. It needs a little salt. Just grab some salt. It is a little under-seasoned. Very buttery, since there is a cup of butter in it. Very rich. It's good. It's kind of boring. Not a bad side. I could see the suggestion of wild rice really making it a little bit better. I think you could put pieces of chicken in it or bacon. I don't know that you need the water chestnuts, but they're okay. I think you could make something with this that would be a little better than what it is, but it's not a bad start. I think chicken, real chestnuts even, something like that would be interesting. Wild rice, chicken stock even, maybe replace some of the butter with chicken stock. The rice is nicely cooked. Cooking it under definitely was the right way to go. Or even different mushrooms. Some chanterelles or morels or something. I mean, makes it a lot more expensive, but but it's good. So that's it for another episode of Just Add Celebs. Still got more recipes in airfare to use. More from Celebrity All Occasion Cooking. Again, if you go to the last video, you'll see I put a list of the celebrities in airfare who I think are still with us. If anyone knows any of them and can get them to come and help me cook their recipe from the book, that would be amazing. I'll do the same with Celebrity All Occasion Cooking, though a lot more of them are American. There are some Canadians in there. Don't send me Wayne Gretzky. He's not going in. And remember, elbows up, elbows-up-canada.ca. Grab some shirts, grab some sweatshirts, stickers, maybe even more if the demand is there. All right, see you later.